Hello, everyone. I'm going to answer a question today. This one is, what is the most famous company you've ever interviewed at? Um, I don't know how to answer that question, or I didn't at first because I don't know what is a famous company? Because I feel like famous has to do with coverage, right? If something is in the news or has like a Wikipedia page, to me, that's famous. Right? If you could Google a person and they have a Wikipedia page, that means they're a celebrity or they're a politician or a millionaire, something like that. So that means they're famous. So I don't know what it means by famous company. I think in this instance, what they meant was maybe the most popular company, or sort of the biggest name. And if that's how the question was formatted, if that was the intention, I would have to say Amazon. I've interviewed at Amazon multiple times in the last couple of years, actually. And what's funny is they have approached me almost as often as I have applied to them. But it was never actually directly correlated. So, for example, I've applied to Amazon and I don't hear back. But separate from my applications, I've actually had Amazon reach out to me on LinkedIn, or other communication methods. I mean, even texting me. But it's only because while I was in government, I think on my LinkedIn, just the way it was formatted, I think I mentioned somewhere that I was able to obtain a security clearance, something like that. And I think the way I phrased it was, I put on my LinkedIn headline or whatever, like near the top under my photo, I put able to obtain TS/SCI clearance, right? So that means I'm able to obtain a top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information clearance. Now, I don't know that definitively. I'm not saying that's factual, but after I'd gone through a few background checks, I felt like, you know what, I don't have anything that would prohibit me from getting a top secret clearance if I was sponsored. So I felt confident. So I said, I'm able to obtain this level of clearance only because of, my own confidence. And I did not know it to be untrue at all. And even now, I'm actually still confident in my ability to get a high clearance. So I think because of that, I'd gotten some attention. And I know the jobs that Amazon interviewed me for were all federally related. So managing federal accounts, being a solutions architect for federal government, for DoD, stuff like that. So that's why I've gotten a lot of interviews in like the last 2-3 years. I've had about 3 engagements with them. I've never had a positive experience though, so I would not. I don't want to diminish them, but each time when it became apparent that when I told them that I don't have like a top secret clearance, I could get one, but I don't have one. The conversation went stale very, very quickly. So once they saw that I couldn't make them money right away and they would have to wait for me to get a clearance, which takes about a year or two, it takes a long time, they lost interest with me each time. And I remember the third time I actually mentioned the first 2 instances, and I did tell the recruiter that, hey, you guys have talked to me before, because for some reason I think, even though it was the same email address and even the same number, he said, oh, there's no like record here of someone reaching out to you. Like, we're supposed to reach out to you, but he's like, no one has mentioned or saved it anywhere that, they reached out to you. And I was like, well, I talked to this guy, and I said I have LinkedIn messages with this guy, I have emails with this guy, and I have talked to you guys. So we tried a third time, and then same thing happened where basically we have a conversation. I think they tried to send me some assessment. I said I wasn't really interested, and then the guy's like, you know what, we can skip that part, which is a nice little perk. I think when it comes to the federal side of Amazon, it's a little bit easier to interview. I mean, there's a few barriers that are removed, but that's because the work of the federal side is a little bit different than the commercial side or the private sector side. So they move a little bit faster and there's fewer steps, but that's because there's just a lot of money on the federal side, and they really want people who have a clearance to get hired quickly and interview quickly, so the interview process is a lot easier. Like when I explained my interview experience versus other people who are like cloud architects or high level account managers, they're like, yeah, we had a much harder time. For example, my interviews with Amazon, I don't think I was asked anything technical. But on the other hand, if you looked at similar jobs on the commercial side, I found that those people had a much harder time than I did. So this is just theory, but I think if you have a security clearance, you an interview for a job that's federally related with Amazon, you'll have an easier time. So yeah, that is a long-winded answer, but again, to answer the question, what's the most famous company I've interviewed at? I would have to say Amazon. I don't think it's the most famous, but I think it's a combination of it's very popular, very well known, and I've also interviewed at it, I think, the most out of all the well-known companies. So that answers that.